Well, ooey, looks like we got another sizzle sazzle for your dazzle. Because today we're making Romanian Mici dogs with an awesome garlicky truffle oil french fries. And we're going to make some roasted garlic mustard aioli as well. So stay tuned because this is awesome. All right, let's face it. Romanian food is highly underrated. It is highly underrated. And today I'm going to be making an awesome version of a hot dog with Romanian cuisine. Because why? They need their own hot dog. So we're going to be making a Mici dog. And it's going to be delicious. We're going to have an awesome slaw to go on top of it. We're going to have an aioli mustard sauce, which mustard is pivotal with Romanian Mici. Usually it's yellow mustard. And then some amazing onions to go on top of it and some other beautiful garnishes. There is a difference though with this Mici. I have to tell you right now, there's a difference. There's a difference. This isn't going to be traditional Romanian Mici by one ingredient only. One ingredient. And you'll see it later on in this video. But I gotta say, it is grilling season. It is warm out there. The bees are out there to sting you. Pop out some good tunes. Try out this recipe because this one is an absolute banger. And I gotta say, I'm impressed with myself. I impressed myself, but I still got a long way to go with this one. I want to improve it even more in the future. So we'll see. Without further ado, people, let's make this shit. First, we're going to start off with 2 jalapeños. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and dice these very fine. And we're going to set them aside once we're done. Now to kick off the Mici, we have exactly 1 pound of ground pork, half a pound of Wagyu, and half a pound of ground lamb, all ground meat. Then we're going to go ahead and add in some paprika. So I'm going to do about 2 to 3 tablespoons of paprika. You don't have to go so heavy on it. And then I'm going to start adding in some allspice. This is completely optional. And I'm going to use about a half a teaspoon of allspice here. Now, Mici is typically very fluffy, so to do that, we're going to add in a teaspoon of baking powder. Be very careful, don't overdo it on the baking powder. Then about a teaspoon of some kosher salt, and the same for some black pepper. You can go to a tablespoon if you would like. Then half a teaspoon of some thyme. This is dried thyme that we're adding in here. You can go with more if you would like, and the same for some coriander. Now, Mici is supposed to be very juicy and fluffy, so to get that, we're going to start adding in some beef broth. We're just going to slowly add it in because we want it to turn to a paste. But here is a key ingredient that is so far different from normal Mici. That jalapeno, we're going to add that, and then a bunch of garlic. I'm talking like you can go 10 cloves here. We're going to go ahead and add in some minced garlic to this as well. All right, and I want to make these even more fatty, so I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of lard. This is completely optional. So I heated it up, added it in there, and then to activate the baking soda, we have sparkling water. So I'm going to add in about 1/3 of a cup of sparkling water to this. And I'm just going to keep mixing, and then you'll notice later on that it may not be pasty enough, so just add in a little bit more beef broth till you get to that pasty texture. For the french fries, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting up about half a pound of Yukon Golds. Now, I would say Idaho's are far better, but we're going to go ahead and make these into nice french fries. We want nice, even slices, and it's okay if they're not all perfect. All right, well, that's done. We can see these are right where I want them, so I'm going to go ahead and add these to a bowl of water to get out the starch, and I'm also going to add in about, I would say, a 1/4 cup of white distilled vinegar. All right, so I'm gonna let these soak for a little while, and then I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the slaw. So on a mandolin, be very careful.
I'm going to go ahead and thinly slice down a quarter of a green cabbage. Now, you can just go with your knife. It's perfectly fine. Mandolins can be quite dangerous, so be careful. And now we have some dill, which you can't have a Romanian recipe without some dill sometimes. So we're going to go ahead and chop up some fresh dill. And I'm going for about 1.5 tablespoons of this to add to this slaw that we're going to create. And then we're just going to go ahead and add in some fresh ground black pepper and some salt to taste. And then just a little bit of some distilled white vinegar just to give this slaw a really good taste. But let's not forget our dill in that slaw. Once it's all mixed, we're going to set it aside in the fridge, and then we're going to focus on our roasted garlic. So the oven's set to 375. I'm going to add some oil to this, wrap it up in tin foil, and pop it in the oven for about 35 minutes to get nicely roasted. Now for the aioli, I'm going to go with about a big heaping tablespoon of mayo, so that's about 2. Then some coarse Dijon mustard. I'm going to do about 2 to 3 tablespoons of that. And then I'm going to add in about a tablespoon of avocado oil, fresh ground black pepper to taste, and the same with some kosher salt. And since our roasted garlic is done, we're going to go ahead and pop all those little beautiful pieces of roasted garlic into here. Then half a lemon juiced, and then we're going to give this a really, really good mix. And there you go. We have our aioli, and this goes really well with the fries too, by the way. Now, I will say that for the meat, I did let the meat marinate overnight for best results, but you can do 4 hours as well. That's perfectly fine. And we're just going to go ahead and shape them. And you can see me shaping them now. And I don't know, there's kind of something strange about this. Something feels really strange. All right, enough of that. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to make a whole new size, one that I can feel a whole lot more comfortable with. So this big one is going to have to go, and we're going to make a whole new one. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and make one the size of the palm of my hand and get rid of that huge, massive one that's very intimidating. And so yeah, there we go. About a baseball size of ground meat. And then we're going to just start shaping them as we go. Now, some people wet their hands when they shape them, makes it a little bit easier, so you can definitely go with that option. But we got the grill piping hot. I would highly suggest doing this on a charcoal grill or wood fire. But let's move on to our French fries. So in a Dutch oven, I've got a bunch of peanut oil. To that, I'm going to start slowly adding my French fries, making sure that these potatoes aren't too wet when they go in because we do not want an explosion. So be very careful, people, and pay attention to your oil levels if you're frying over fire. But we're going to transfer them to a warm rack and salt them immediately. I like to keep the oven on warm while I'm doing this process so they don't get cold. It's best to do this if you have somebody that can help in the inside of the house with the fries while you're doing the grilling, but I did it on my own and it came out just fine. So we're going to go ahead and drizzle on some black truffle oil there. And then I've got chopped up curly parsley and a bunch of garlic cloves that I've minced. And we're going to put them in here and give them a nice mix. Now look, I'm going to use my mitts to mix this, okay? Which is perfectly fine. I'm the one eating it. If I had people over company, I would definitely not do this. I would probably use some tongs or a spoon and just very carefully mix them. Now to put the meat on the grill. So we want it as hot as possible. Unfortunately, I only have my griddle. I just did a batch, so I'm adding the second batch to it right now. And you don't turn these a lot. Typically, you only turn them once, is what I've always been taught with making meat. Now, since we have all this beautiful fat and lard here just on the griddle, I'm going to go ahead and take advantage and add my buns to slightly toast them in that fat. And there we are, people. We are ready to plate. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start with the bun. Then we're gonna drop in the mici, and of course, we're gonna follow this up by adding in the slaw to this, okay? So add in the slaw however much you want, and then I'm gonna add some pickled red onions on top. I have plenty of videos where I cover pickled red onions. They're very easy to make. And then, of course, that aioli. But we cannot forget the french fries either. So I gotta tell you, people, this recipe was so damn good.
All right, and we are done. And honestly, I am so excited about this one dish here because I have wanted to make this for a long time. So here it is. And I'm going to try it right now. I have tested it, but I'm going to go ahead and try it. So, there we go. The minced dog. Why would you have a hot dog? This is 10 times better. It's juicy, has all the right fixings. Why would you have anything other than this? This is insanely good. I'm going to have another bite. Wow. Now, we can't forget the fries. The garlic truffle fries. They bring the nice touch to this dish. I mean, holy shit. This is awesome. So, I'm not going to keep you, but thank you for watching. And yeah, we're done here. I'm out.